Yep, doing a bit of safe run on my rogue, the short bow. It's a little bit more annoying um, because the rogue's abilities all proc off of melee or spells. So the spells is the only thing keeping up my slice and dice. Which isn't too bad, but just an extra thing to keep up that you don't really have to worry about too much when you're playing a pure melee build. Casting speed doesn't particularly matter, but none of the buffs there did. As long as you keep combo up, it's the downsides of the bow's movement speed penalty. It doesn't feel that bad. It gets noticeable, but far better than it is without combo. Oh, movement speed. I'll take that. Yep. All right. Mm. Still no experience trinket, so it's going to be a pretty full run to get all the levels. It's always less fun, but being a short bow user this time around, wisps should not be a hassle at all. Being a hassle is something that comes along with being melee based. Still wearing leather armor though, so barracks will do a bit more damage than if I was wearing full plate. All those are bad, so don't need to worry about the Shadow Curse there. Only reason I'm using Fan of Knives is to keep up Slice and Dice. And proc drums, but I have not gotten drums yet. It has not been a good run for trinkets. But sometimes it's just how it goes. Especially in a game where two-thirds of the trinkets have no value whatsoever. Another sixth have minimal, and then the last six are really great. Works out that most of the time, you don't get the ones that are really great. And you just have an inventory full of junk. Oh, there's the secret. Don't really care. I'm right here, might as well. Okay. Just 3 more levels to go. All right. Got spiders, which is the worst option there, but that's all right. Spiders being the one trinket I will actively complain about every single time I get it. And it happening right before quartz, the level it's worst on, is just the cherry on top. Phoenix Feather? No, Dragon's Heart, boo. I sure do love spiders making those archers fire from really far away. The spells are only being used to proc drums and keep slice and dice up. They have no importance on the actual damage. It's just a weapon build. Yeah, diverting your effort into two different areas does not work in your favor in this game. All right. 2.5 levels left. Don't know if I'm going to do it, but we'll see. Ow. That would have been a very easy way to do it. Just making me start a new run. I'm getting very lucky that when those don't just outright kill me. I mean, I believe there's always room that you can probably push to play better. But there are, yeah, Avatar can get difficult for several new games. What's your problem? Are you just running out of mana, or are you running out of potions? Yeah. If you dance with him, you should be able to get by health-wise on just pure recovery. But it takes a while to get used to that song and dance. Yeah, you should be able to get by with that. Having Vengeful on your chest piece also helps you with mana more than you realize, especially on Avatar, because you'll eventually proc it off of the ads and the fire. And then once you start getting combo going, it's a lot easier to keep up than starting it. Oh, Drums of War, finally. Oh, I'm not on a battle axe. I forgot. Oh, this could be bad. This could be really bad. I could not clear as quickly. I forgot that for a second. So being trapped in a small room with shades sucks a lot more with a short bow. Yeah, Wizard does get bad about that, especially Earthquakes more than anything, especially once you start getting some spell mastery. Though at New Game 17, I don't think you'll have much, because that was be in shield mastery at this point. But you might have a little. Yeah, the tough point on that is much actually worse on Sorcerer, because they also sit up spinning balls. But yeah, Earthquake, once you start getting really expensive spells, just gets obnoxious. And you really have to zone in to figure out what avatar is actually animating. Although, to be fair, there's only 3 real animations that matter, and the Slam one is the biggest one. And for that, you want to focus less on avatar and more the ground around him. So you have a wider space to see it. Everything else can sort of be reacted to. The most annoying, though, being his little death cloud. When he does the grasp and it does the claws and then has the little field of death that just makes all the movement just a little bit more annoying on the map. But the dashing one can be important depending on how quick you are on your reaction, but that one is a pretty long one to notice. Of course, being zoomed out helps on that one. Yeah, it's those new games where the boss fight lasts the longest. I think like between 17 and 40 something. After that, they start getting quicker and quicker. But when the boss fight is lasting like 2 to 3 minutes, it requires you to be consistent or just have the whole run wasted, which does feel kind of bad. Oh, if you stay up on your gear, the game gets easier and easier. It doesn't get harder. Mostly. Damage is a bit weird. Damage gets condensed into there's basically 2 things that do damage. That becomes wisps and quartz archers. So you just got to learn to avoid those enemies in particular. But otherwise, yeah, you don't have a toughness issue. Of course, it also requires you to be donating proper amounts of stone. Like, you don't need to farm it, but don't be selling it for, like, weapon damage or something silly. It is an important part of your defense. Same for iron. Iron is actually more pivotal than you think for recovery. I know a lot of people sell it because, like, oh, well, it's so expensive and I can get so much damage. Like, no, that's going to be one of those scaling stats that's going to be really good for you because they sort of scale together with the damage reduction. Right now at my level, I have a ton of recovery, like 500% extra, so times 6 multiplier. Yeah, I think the next big one. I like to make a bunch of mental milestones. The next one that I'm looking for is 900% iron, which I think is like 3 million iron donated. And with that, that means every point of vitality gives 0.5 healing per second. Or not every... Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and you're not just running Wizard, right? You're running on other classes too. Because if you're going to focus on one class, you're just going to make it harder on yourself. Wizard does have the spell power damage baked in, but the defenses that you get from Warlock and Warrior are also very important. Obviously, the trap damage from Rogue, which is only... I mean, that's not going to matter on the Avatar fight, but... Did I get the secret? Oh, well. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it takes time to raise everyone. If you do find yourself struggling, like you're saying, on those new games, I would definitely, at the very least, consider raising Warrior. Just for that little bit of extra HP. Yeah, it makes sense to push Warrior to get the damage in. But you know, if you're struggling on the class that you're pushing, you know, that's kind of a sign that you might want to push on something else. Obviously, some classes are less helpful than others. But if you think about it this way, like, even if you're at a fine mana point, every point that you, or every level that you get in Sorcerer is points that you don't have to put in Focus and can put into either Vitality or more spell power. So, like, Ranger is probably doing the least for you right now, but every other class is giving you something. Like, I'm not necessarily a proponent on leveling Paladin too far. He gets armor, but he also does give you strength for every 10 levels until level 100 as well. And that could be put to... Well, I mean, first of all, you're just going to get armor penetration from that. Well, that's not like the end-all, be-all. If you're wearing a shield, that means you also are sort of reducing the requirements of the shield by however many you get for him. Yeah, Ranger is useful for the end game, but you also just already have a bunch from your cape. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty big one, but it's not like they're the exclusive source of the stat. It's that and the cape and the different trinkets you get. Potentially your weapon, if you put it on your weapon instead of weapon crit. I wouldn't. But well, unless you were doing a main hand offhand thing with the one-handed crossbow, but that's a weird situation. Yeah. For a spell power build, I would say the cape is the most important piece. For a weapon build, it probably goes in is like the weapon and then the cape. But even for a spell power build, though, the weapon is very important because it has both crit stat. Well, you could get it has two important stats on it, potentially crit stats. Precision is not the way to go. Precision is the deadly. No. I can't remember what the spell crit chance is off the top of my head. Destruction? No. Something like that. That's generally not the way to go. You're going to want penetration as the rare enchant on your weapons for a spell-based build, because spell-based builds get a ton of crit through Ambitious Adept. And just the fact that you have 2 slots for it. Yeah, in each armor penetration, it eventually becomes like 11% damage, multiplicated with each other. So, yeah, penetration once you start getting up there in the new games is definitely worth it. Early new games, not so much, but once you get past like 10 or 12, and creatures actually start having high amounts of armor. No, it does not. It does a formula where each amount is diminishing. So basically, if you were to get 50% spell crit chance, that would make it so that the next spell crit that you would have after that 50% would only be on the percent remaining. So, like if you had 5% after you already had 50, that 5% would be 2.5. So every point of crit makes the crit chance makes the bit that comes after it worth less. There is a maximum number of pieces that you can get it on. I don't feel like doing the math right now. It might be somewhere near 65%. But, I don't think so. I know that you can get 33% with infinite intelligence, because of the way they have scaling there. Then 25% with Ambitious Adept, and then you can get 5% with the Cracked Orb, and then a 10% with the Whole Orb, and then on gear you can have it on. You get 5% from the gloves, 5% from the helm, and then 5% on each weapons optionally. The glove just comes with it, but the other two you'd have to spec for it, which you probably wouldn't. And I think those are all the sources of crit, so I could figure out what that is, but that's not mental math for me. I'm sure it is for somebody, but not for me. And then additional classes sometimes give you crit. Like I know Sorcerer does. And I know Rogue does specifically, well, in general when you dodge, and then specifically for Fan of Knives. Yeah, speaking of double. Those aren't high amounts. So, yeah, there's not a cap on... There's a cap on crit in the way that there's only so many sources of crit that you can get, but it really just diminishes with each other. Yeah. Sometimes I forget that shortbow is not as good as clearing a room as axe is. I was about to try to handle those face first, and I was like, no, that will actually probably kill me. I have to get range and get him in a line. Let's see how slow this run was. I don't know that felt that much safer. I also can't dash while I'm doing volley. That's an important thing to remember. I think it might just be a short stream today because I'm. Oh, I could have got more DPS. I forgot I had the sigil. Oh well. I feel kind of tired. I need to take a break before I end up having to DM in a bit. All right. How long did that run take? Ooh, yeah, that took a long while. Ugh. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to switch back to Axe. Although the last time I ran Axe, I didn't realize it wasn't expected to Axe damage, so that was partly why I was running so poorly. My damage wasn't bows for some reason. I think I must have been testing something last time I ran. But, oh well. What did that get me up to in my titles, though? Now up to 99.09% trap reduction. That's good. All right, well, I'll catch everybody next time. Godspeed, peeps. Heading out.